Hey guys, SureSharpMidget here. I'm going to be making a video review on the Matrix Turbo Speed Motor. Now, I'm not going to take the motor out of this gun, so I'll go ahead and show you a picture of it. This is just the easier way to do things. So it's the Matrix Turbo Motor. This is the high-speed version. So they have the Magnum motor. Mad Babes. They have the high torque motor. I'll show you that. The Magnum. Okay, so it's pulling up. Matrix Magnum. High torque. So this is going to be more torquey, but I have one of those in my MP5, and my MP5 gets 35 BBs a second, so it's still a pretty speedy motor. I've got 13-to-1s in there, and if you match that with one of these, the Magnum motors, you're still going to get an incredible rate of fire. But this turbo motor, yeah, again, it's the blue labeled one. I think this is their newer version. They had older versions. The newer versions have the kind of gold can on them, so kind of like a gold shiny can. So yeah, so that is the motor I'm reviewing. It is inside of a completely stock Classic Army Sport line. So this is, again, the Sport line. I'm not sure, I can't confirm if there's any differences between the Sport line and the Pro line on the internals, but I know the externals are totally different. So this is the Sport line version, but it actually performs pretty well. Out of the box, it had an O-ring on the front of the hop-up, so I had to take that off and put a spring on the front of the hop-up to get it to feed properly. But we're going to test this motor, all stock, completely stock, 18-to-1 gears, stock motor. It gets about 360 feet per second with a .2, 360, 370-ish. Good range, good accuracy, good consistency, but we're not reviewing the gun. So I have a 7.4 1300 25 to 50C LiPo here we're going to test. This is Dean's, so I have a adapter in my pocket. So again, a 7.4 and then an 11.1, which is about a 20C. So I think this is a 1200. I have an adapter here, so from Tamiya to Dean's. So we are losing some resistance here, or some power, so there's resistance. So if you were to just do straight Dean's, you'd get better performance. So let's try a 7.4. I actually have a loaded mag over here, so we'll actually shoot it out of the window. These are .2 BBs. Rate of fire wise, you should, with the 7.4, I'd probably recommend a 7.4. If you're going to use an 11.1 with this motor, you're going to need a metal rack piston. That's just how it is. This gun specifically doesn't have any issues with overspin, actually. On full auto with the 11.1, it actually sounds totally fine. It's just your piston is going to shred. So let's go ahead and shoot it out the window. Just make sure my mag's winded. The battery space on the Scar is pretty weak, but I would recommend running a nice big 7.4 brick with this type of motor if you're using stock internals. If you're using a 13-to-1 gear set, oh my gosh, there's bugs that already came in here. If you're using a 13-to-1 gear set, I would probably recommend to not run an 11.1 because you will run into overspin issues because you'll get like 35, 40 BBs a second, something ridiculous. So this motor would be good to use with 7.4, or if you want to use an 11.1, you probably want to have stock gears. So stock 18-to-1 gears or even a torque gear set would be good, and you can use an 11.1 with that, but make sure you got a metal rack piston for that. So I'm just going to barely open the window up because the bugs are just going to come flying in. So this is a 7.4 again. It's a pretty high discharge though. Now when comparing to the stock motor, the semi-auto sounds about the same, so you're not going to get much more torque with this motor. It does have strong neo-magnets, but you're just not going to get much torque depending on what gun you're putting it in, because some guns, like say a Krytac trigger response is going to be better than the trigger response of this motor. This is going to actually weaken it. So you got to take into account what gun you're putting it in. But most stock guns, I'd say probably about 80% of stock guns, the trigger response is not going to change between the motors. So all right, full auto. So as you can see there, it does have a spin-up time. It takes a little bit for it to spin up and get full rate of fire out of it because it is a speed motor. and speed motors tend to do that. Trigger response is not really that good, but the rate of fire is pretty good. Now, when we go to 11.1, the trigger response is actually pretty kicking. Is that something that the kids say? Is that what cool kids say? So 11.1. See, with 11.1, with this motor, you're going to get some pretty good trigger response, but the rate of fire is pretty quick. So that's an easy 30 BBs a second right there. On a stock, maybe 28. Might be 30. Chrono's dead, so sorry, can't chrono it. But it's definitely above 25 BBs a second. So it's probably more along the lines of 30. And that's with the stock gear set. So if you just take a stock gearbox, throw a metal rack piston in there, and use this motor, you should be able to use an 11.1 LiPo with it. The motor can handle the 11.1 LiPo pretty easily. Again, trigger response is pretty good. Full auto, it just rips. So let me go back to the 7.4 real quick, because this is probably what you're going to use. If you want to use the 7.4, no need for a MOSFET. Plus, you throw 13-to-1s in here with the 7.4 and this motor, you should be getting some pretty good performance out of that. Even stock with the stock gears, it's pretty good. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Do I recommend the motor? I really do. But again, this is more of a speed motor, so if you're looking for torque, the Matrix Magnum is a really good choice. Also, if you're looking for really balanced stuff, ZCI Balance, hence the name, is going to give you some pretty good performance. I've seen ZCI Balances do about 30 BBs a second with 13-to-1s and an 11.1 LiPo, so that's along the lines of the Magnum, but the ZCI Balances are cheaper. So if you're interested in those, you can go get one of those. But you won't quite get as much speed with the ZCI Balance as you will with the Turbo. But you get plenty of rate of fire with the Balance, to be honest. Go get a Balance. Go get a ZCI Balance, please. I mean, this isn't a bad motor, but you see more noobs using these motors than ZCI Balances, to be honest, because ZCI Balances are kind of hidden to the noobs, you know? Most people don't know what they are. But anyways, I digress. Thanks for watching, guys.